Hi, it's Carla with the Double Duty Agent Podcast, and I am so excited you're here. Each week we get together and we explore the stories of successful double duty real estate agents. And from their stories, you can find the solutions to your challenges and the keys to unlocking your success. We've got an inspiring story today, so let's get started. I am so excited to be here today with Anne Copple. This is a very special interview for me because I know a little bit about your story since you were one of my coaching clients. So I've experienced your transition from dual career to full-time real estate like in real time, which is super exciting.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I can't wait for everybody to hear your story. It is so inspiring. So let's start at the very beginning. What had you decide to get your real estate license? What was going on?
It was during COVID. I was working a lot. I was a social worker, so I worked a lot of hours and didn't make a lot of money, a lot of paperwork, and I was looking for a change.
So how did real estate end up on your radar?
Actually, I've always been interested in it. Back when I was pregnant with my son, that was 22 years ago, 23 years ago, I actually went to real estate school back then.
Okay.
And because of life circumstances, I was never able to follow that up. But then I'm at a point in my life now where I can do that.
So fulfilling a dream then is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
I love that. I think a lot of people have a dream of being in real estate and they just don't have the moxie to go out and do it. And you had it. So I love that. All right. So you're a social worker and you get your real estate license and you decide you're going to do both for a while.
Sure. Yeah. I didn't think that I could just jump right into real estate and make enough money because it's one of those things you have to build up over time. You have to build up clients. You have to get people to know that you're doing real estate. It just takes a little bit of time. So yeah, I kept both jobs and I did that for about a year and a half. So at first it was really fun. My social work was flexible. I was salaried. I could show a house on my lunch hour or right after work and do those kinds of things. So I had a couple sales then. A couple listings, but nothing crazy. And then as I started to use social media to get the word out what I was doing, a lot of my friends in my sphere were finding out that I was doing that. And these are people that liked me, trusted me, and so they were ready to use me for real estate. My business started picking up a little bit. Besides, I was going to coaching with you, which was really excellent. Learning how a little bit more to run my business and what I'm supposed to do and how I can help my business grow.
Awesome. All right. So let's back up just a minute and unpack a little bit of that. So first of all, a little over a year and a half, you were dual career, meaning you were both a social worker and you were building and growing your real estate business. And you mentioned a little bit about the flexibility, which is awesome. But tell me, how did you manage your time? So a lot of times dual career agents or double duty agents, as I like to call them, they have a hard time figuring out how to fit everything in. How did that work for you?
It didn't. That was exactly it. As I started to get busier, it was fine when I just had one here and one there. But as I started to get busier, it wasn't working. And I finally had to come to the realization that I was doing neither of my jobs very well. And that upset me. I didn't care for that. And I was working night and day and weekends, and it was just really hard. You remember, we had lots of conversations about that. So I decided that I had to choose one or the other. So it was definitely real estate.
Okay. The situation just put you in the place. Now, you had a transition plan that we had been working on during the while as we were going. And if I remember correctly, you might have kept moving the target a little bit. So this issue with your time in the end accelerated your moving forward with your transition plan, yes?
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. And I have a problem with what I call the readiness concept. I wasn't sure if I was ready yet. So I keep putting it off. Oh, I'm not quite ready yet. I need to learn this or I need to do that. I also had a lot of problem with comparisons. So I was in coaching with a lot of people who were full-time agents, and I kept comparing what I was doing to what they were doing, but it was like apples and oranges.
Yeah. So comparison is the thief of joy.
It is.
It doesn't. Everybody's writing their own story, and we as humans have a tendency to compare ourselves to other people and make judgments about ourselves on that. So we worked on that and we got past that.
Yes, most definitely. And someone told me, don't compare, be inspired.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's just, okay, that's a different way to think about that.
Be inspired. Don't compare,
yeah.
be inspired. That is
Yeah.
definitely a nugget there. Okay, so we make the transition. Tell me how that transition moved for you. How did that work for you?
You know what? It was just the way things fell. It was great because right before I left my other job, in fact, the last couple of weeks, I went to Family Reunion, which is a big Keller Williams annual training that people come from all over the world. It was fantastic, very inspirational, very motivational. So I did that right before I left my other job. So that was just the timing of that was outstanding. And then we did a lot of meeting and a lot of coaching, and I had to learn how to set up my business. I had to learn how to do things like time block. I'm still working on that one.
It's always a work in progress.
Right. I had to learn how to set aside time for lead generation and how to do all those kinds of things. So
I don't know if you know this, but your experience with Family Reunion and mine, it was immediately after I attended my first family reunion that I decided I was going to transition from dual career to full time. So it's something we have in common.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
yes,
awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I have to back up one thing I remember from when you were still a social worker and doing real estate is your call time. And I remember you would make a call list. Why don't you tell? How did you handle your calls while you were traveling to and from your social work appointments?
So I set up a call list and I had it set up as an app in my phone. So all I had to do is like press a button and it would call the next person. So it was set up through our Keller Williams command program. And so I would just call people while I was driving in between my appointments.
Got your calls in.
Yes.
See, that where there's a will, there's a way. And that's what we have to do as dual career agents sometimes is take really concentrated actions. So what else do you think? You mentioned social media, and we know that you were making your calls. Were you doing anything else during that period of time in between when you were still doing both social work and real estate together, making calls, social media? Was there any other lead generation strategy that you employed?
Social media was my main thing, but then I also did open houses. I did a lot of open houses.
Open houses work really well for dual career agents because typically we have open houses when we're not at work. So that works out really well. All right. So now post-transaction, what's your career look like? What's your business look like?
Oh, gosh. It took a little bit of time still to start building it up. So that first half year that I was full-time, I had a little bit of frustration. And again, that comparison syndrome. We all want that. We all want everything to happen right away. But I knew that it didn't. And I knew that I just had to put in the work. So I had tons of encouragement between Carla, between brokers, between other Keller Williams agents. And so they just said, you're doing all the right things. You just need to stay with it. And so I did. I kept doing the work and doing the work. And then all of a sudden, as you always say, what do you always say? Slowly,
then suddenly. That's how it works.
Yeah. And then things started to happen for me. So then my business really picked up. So the first year I doubled what I had done the previous year. And then the year after that, 4 times. What I did as far as my business. Yeah.
Big time growth. And this year you're on trajectory to hit your goals again this year?
Absolutely. I'm ahead of trajectory this year.
Ahead of trajectory. So, I love that.
Yeah.
You are on the Agent Leadership Council. And if anybody doesn't know what that means, so in each market center at Keller Williams, there are a select few agents that are in the top 20% of the market center who are invited to act as the voice for the other agents in the office. So you're on the Agent Leadership Council this year. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I was very honored and humbled to be chosen for that. And then I found out that it's not just that. It's about doing some work. I'm like, oh, man, they suckered me into that, too. No, but it's really great to be able to give back to our other agents. We each have committees that we take on. So I took on the safety committee, and we've got some really exciting things planned to promote safety for our agents. And when we're showing houses, some different apps we're looking at introducing, and we have some self-defense realtor safety classes coming up real soon. So it's really fun to be able to give back.
It's really fun to watch you too, really step up as a leader. So both in your business center that you are in, I know that you're like one of the leaders now that everybody thinks of when they think of your business center office. And then also you were awarded the Culture Award this year.
Yes. Yeah, that was, I was really honored to receive that too. Yeah, it's called the Live Like Austin Award. And it is somebody who goes the extra mile to help others and to step out and do the right thing with integrity. And it is sponsored by Keller Williams, and it's in honor of the son who passed away from another Keller Williams agent. Gosh, I get a little choked up. I was really honored to be chosen for that, to carry on his legacy.
And nobody more deserving, because you are the one that's always willing to step up and help anybody that needs some help. I love that. So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing right now. What would be your one or two most important choices that a dual career or double duty agent might need to make in order to make it and to achieve their goals? What do you think some choices that they would need to focus on?
Let me see. Probably would be, one of the things I would advise is you have to run your business like a business. When you start out dual careered, it's usually like a side gig. And once you are getting ready to do it full time and you start doing it full time, you have to run it like a business. And I didn't realize that at first, even though I was told that over and over again. I was self-will run riot, and I did what I wanted when I wanted, and that didn't work out very well for me. So I had to start running it like a business. I had to ask myself, if I were my own boss, would I be happy with what I did today?
I love that.
And most days, yes, but some days I'm like,
So you fired yourself a few times?
Yes, most definitely.
We all have done that. I love that.
Yeah, and being your own boss, you can do what you want, but that's not going to get you very far in business.
What you do today is your business 90 days from now. So if you decide not to work today, that means 90 days from now, you're not getting a paycheck probably, yeah?
Exactly.
Very true. All right. How about actions? What do you think were the most important actions that you took while you were still dual career? So when you were a social worker and real estate, what were the most important actions you took that led you to the point where you could transition to full-time real estate?
A couple things. One, I did coaching. That was really incredibly helpful because I didn't know what I was doing.
I love hearing that.
Number two, I connected with other agents in my brokerage, and I just asked them for a few minutes of their time. And I sat down, I took them to lunch or coffee, and I picked their brains about how did they do it? How did they make it? What was their story? What are things that I should know? And so I did a lot of that. Not only do you build connection with other agents that you admire, but you just learn an incredible amount.
The success leaves clues, right? So we're finding those clues. That's what we do here on this podcast. So yeah, awesome.
And then the other thing would be as much education as possible.
Okay.
And Keller Williams offers more training and education that you could ever possibly. You could probably do it full time all day, every day. If
just
you
not going to pay very well.
Yeah, yeah. So there's so much out there, and educating yourself and learning really helps.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, and then mindset. Tell me a little bit about the mindset that you had to have as a dual career agent back when you were doing both things. We've talked about comparison. Is there any other mindset piece or limiting belief that you had to overcome?
Oh, there was tons of limiting beliefs.
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, and mine is really simple. I did a lot of the negativity, like, I can't do this because of this. And I had negativity and excuses and reasons. And I think that was just because I was afraid. It was my fear that was getting to me. So as soon as I changed my mindset to I can, one of the things I always say, there are, like in a given day, there are 99 things that go right and one thing that goes wrong. Which one do you want to focus on? But I would choose the one thing that went wrong, focus on it all day, the next day, and maybe the next week. But if I made a conscious effort to change my mindset to focus on, and it took a while. What do they say, 66 days?
66 days to change a habit.
To change a habit. It
Yeah.
took a while. I had to remind myself every day, focus on the good things, focus on your successes, focus on gratitude. And I started to think that way. And it really changed the way my business went as well.
I love that. Gratitude is a big deal, right? Gratitude practice. We subscribe to 5 gratitudes a day, 5 things we were grateful for today. And sometimes it could just be simply, it was the sun was shining, or
I
Miss
got out of bed on
Annie
time.
has the most amazing sunsets at her house. So if you
I
get to
really
be
do.
her Facebook friend, we've got some amazing sunsets at your house. So lots of things to be grateful for.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. 99 good things, 1 bad thing. Which are you gonna focus on?
Yeah.
Very important mindset. What would be your 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you would give somebody who is a dual career agent, double duty agent right now, and they are struggling? They are comparing themselves to others. They are feeling like they just cannot figure out how to make this work. What would you tell them?
Just 2 things? No, there's
Well,
more.
many things as you want. You tell me. Whatever thing they need to know.
So time blocking, and use your blocks of time. If you're on your lunch break, make some phone calls. If you are driving, make some phone calls. The work. Even if you only have a little bit of time to do it, just do the work. Take the action. Because if you sit in that readiness phase saying, I can't because, you'll never get in there.
I love
So
that. Concentrated action. I love concentrated action, and I absolutely love this. Fit it in where it fits, right? So if there's 10 minutes, use it. If there's 15 minutes, use it. And what you said earlier, right? You can have reasons or results, but you can't have both, right? So we got to focus on that instead of, this is why I can't.
Right.
What are all the reasons why I can?
And that ties, I'm not to beat a dead horse, but that comparison thing, that was really hard for me. Looking at everybody else killing it, and here I was.
I bet a lot of people listening to this podcast can relate to that. What was the best way that you overcame that comparison? What was the one shift that you made in that?
Just a reality check. Reality check is, I'm not doing this full time. How can I compare myself? And then again, don't envy, get inspired. And that's when I started talking to other people. How did you do it?
I love that. Don't envy, get inspired. All right. So what's the future hold for Miss Annie?
Gosh, right now I'm thinking possibly about at least hiring an admin because I'm getting busy enough that I need some help. I'm looking at potentially a team in the future, but all that's
very exciting.
Up in the air.
On your way to mega agent status.
Oh, possibly.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. Now we're all about creating referral relationships. If someone had a client that they were moving to Indianapolis, or they knew somebody in Indianapolis that was getting ready to buy or sell a house, what's the best way they could get in touch with you?
Oh, gosh. So, yeah, you can call me. That's the easiest way. My phone number is 317-714-835. You can email me. My email is Anne Copple at kw.com. That's ANNECOPPLE at kw.com.
Awesome. We will have your contact information in the show notes. And where do you like to do business? But let them know where they could send clients to you.
Absolutely. I'm located just south of Indianapolis in Franklin. That's where my office is, and that's where I live. But I will go anywhere in the greater Indianapolis area. I'm very familiar with Johnson County, Marion County, a little bit on the north side, east and west side. I've actually done quite a bit in the south area, actually, as well, all the way down to Seymour and North Vernon.
Down yonder, down south.
Yes.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today and telling your story to help inspire everyone else out there. I know that there are lots of keys to success in your story.
Thanks. And call me if you just need some encouragement or some help. And I'm happy to talk to anyone about it. So
there's that culture award again. Thank you so much, Annie, for sharing your story with everyone. I know everyone found it to be very inspiring. It's time for our keys to success. From Annie's story, we can identify choices, actions, and mindset shifts that led to her success. In these choices, actions, and mindsets, we're going to find some things that resonate with you, some things that you can apply in your business and your thought process that will help move you towards your success. So let's dive in. Choices. The very first one. Annie chose to treat real estate like a business. We have to treat real estate as a serious business. And she said, ask yourself every day, would this satisfy you if you were all your your own boss because you are your own boss, right? So when you get off work and you come home and you decide today's not a day I want to go to work, how's that going to make your boss feel? We have to treat real estate like a business because it is a business. Remember, we heard last week a hobby is expensive. We don't want it to be expensive. I'm assuming that you got into real estate to make income, not to spend money. So we have to treat it like a business. And Annie's other choice was to find inspiration in others. So we all have a tendency, we want to compare ourselves to others. And as double duty agents, we'll have the tendency to compare ourselves to full time agents or to other double duty agents that we don't even know what their story is, what's going on in their world. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't rob yourself of all of the amazing things that you are and that you are doing. So don't compare yourself to others. And what Annie tells us is instead find inspiration in what they're doing. So find inspiration in others. Keys to success actions. Annie's first key was engaging in coaching and training. Your real estate class, it taught you a lot of wonderful things about the law and real estate in general, but it did not teach you how to be a realtor. And it also didn't teach you how to build and grow a business. And you are going to need training for that. And then a coach or a mentor, a coach and a mentor. You could have both. A coach is going to help you with some accountability, some guidance, some business planning to help you stay on track. So, those are two important keys to your success. And then networking with other successful agents. We heard Annie say that she had just invited other agents out to coffee, out to meet with her and say, hey, what did you do? How did you find success? And I know this is why I created the Double Duty Agent podcast, because each week we get to network with successful agents together. So I love this action step. So continue to listen to the Double Duty Agent podcast. There's the action in that. And then the last action item, keys to success, that I took from Annie's story is to take concentrated action. You heard Annie tell us she made calls whenever she could fit them in. She used the Keller Williams command app or whatever it is that you have for your technology. Make a call list. And then if you have a 15-minute break at work, make a couple of calls. If you're driving from one appointment to another, hands-free, safely, make a call. She also talked about using social media to leverage conversations and how she used open houses to grow her business. So concentrated action. We don't have the luxury of a lot of extra time. So we have to do things that have meaningful impact concentrated, right? Just like that orange juice when it comes in the small can and you make a gallon of orange juice with it. All right, and then keys to success on mindset. We're gonna pull back a little bit from the choices because that choice that Annie made about getting inspiration from others is also a mindset shift, right? Instead of comparing your achievement to others, draw inspiration from their achievements. Mindset, adopt a mindset of gratitude. Annie told us if 99 things go wrong and one goes well, you get to choose which will you focus on. Remember, what you focus on expands. If you focus on the one thing that went well, then that will expand and more things will go well. But if you focus on the 99 things that went wrong, that will expand too. And what would that look like? And lastly, under mindset, you must have patience. It takes time to grow your business. If you continue to do the right activities, we call this time on task over time. This will lead you to the results that you want. So you must have patience. Next week, Christy Williams will be with us and she will share with us her leap of faith and how it has led to her real estate success. Thank you so much for joining me today for the Double Duty Agent podcast. I hope you're leaving inspired, and I hope that you found a key or two that you might try out to see how they work to help you unlock your success. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss a single inspiring story. And if you know anyone, another double duty, dual career agent who might benefit from hearing these stories as well, please share our podcast. I appreciate you so much. And until next time, have a productive week. See you soon.